Okay, is my voice audible to you all?
Yes, sir, it's audible.
Yes. So yesterday we left with unit 2. Okay, let's complete unit 2, then we will continue in the next classes. Okay, so we completed unit 1, then unit 3, then we're talking about unit 2. Okay, so unit 2 particularly talks about a topic called as psychophysics. Psychophysics. So have you got any idea about this particular thing? Psycho and physics. Psychology plus physics. Just look at it. So this is a particular field or area of psychology where psychological principles along with the physical principles are used, or application of physical principles in psychology. So generally what physics would be talking about and how physics can be used in psychology.
In applying a theory, sir?
Okay, it's an application. Okay, applied field of psychology. You got pure psychology branches and applied fields of psychology. Did you remember that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, some applied fields of psychology. So this is a applied field of psychology where we make use of physical principles in psychology. So it is called as psychophysics. Okay, so this particular field or word was coined by German scientist, philosopher Fechner, Theodor Fechner. So he was the person, he used this particular word. So where he conducted a series of experiments by making use of physics principles in psychology. So initially he conducted a series of experiments on stimulus. Did you remember stimulus? Did you remember this particular word, stimulus?
Yes, sir.
If there is a stimulus, what would be there? For a stimulus, what would be there? A response?
Yes.
Did you remember? If there is a stimulus, there would be
response.
Response. It's a stimulus response, and this particular stimulus response in terms of our behavior. So what is the effect of this particular stimulus on behavior of a person? So he conducted a series of experiments to know stimulus effect on the behavior by studying sensation and perception. I repeat, stimulus, sensation and response. Okay, so generally where there is a stimulus, there would be a response. So that particular response, is studying in terms of sensation and perception. Okay, so this particular field of psychology, which is called as psychophysics, which was coined or which was founded by Theodor Fechner. So it is trying to look at how quantitatively this particular stimulus response reactions can be studied quantitatively. Okay, what is this quantitative? So most of the time we keep using quantitative, qualitative and all that.
Anything that can be measured.
Yes, good. So anything that can be measured and where a numerical value can be assigned. You agree with this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, numerical value. For example, what can be numerical value? What is a physical quantity, for example? Can any one of you tell me an example? The things can be physically measured.
A kilo of sugar.
Good.
Bag of rice.
Good. 25 kgs of rice or 50 kgs of rice.
Liters of milk.
Good. Height of a person.
Height of a person.
Age of a person.
Yes.
You getting me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In the same way, where sensation perception, which were immeasurable, or where people were thinking that they cannot be measured. So this particular person, Fechner, have come up with application of physical principles in terms of stimulus and response, especially studying sensation and perception. So where he can quantify the responses. Okay, and where he can make a measurement and where he can assign a numerical value, okay, making use of physical principles. So this is the beauty of this particular field, which is called as psychophysics. Okay, so if you remember this particular stimulus, so what are the theories we had based on this stimulus? Did you remember anything? Would be a response. So one particular person, physiologist and a psychologist, who have conducted a series of experiments on dogs. Do you remember that dog experiment?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. The
Who was that
stimulus is
particular person?
different.
Good, good. Okay, he rings a bell and serves food. This is how stimulus and response would be getting associated. Did you remember all that?
Yes, sir. And
Yes,
also
sir.
in another one, there's a light before giving food to the dog.
Good. So bell can be replaced with anything. There he could evoke the same response. So that is stimulus. Okay, please do remember that stimulus. We're talking about a stimulus. Okay, we're trying to look at the responses in terms of sensation and perception in psychophysics. Okay, then you have to define what is this particular sensation and perception, because the entire subject is talking about or revolving around sensation and perception. So how you define sensation, what you know about sensation, then perception. Any idea?
Sensations are related with the five senses organs,
Excellent, good.
and perception is what is the impression is left on.
Can we form on?
Okay. So sensation is collecting or taking information which is present around us with the help of sense organs. Okay. Sensation, okay, through sense organs, we're trying to take up information. Okay. So once this particular sensation is sensed with the help of sense organs, so we got, okay, specialized cells. Each sense organ is specialized in one particular type of, okay, sensation. For example, eyes,
Nose, ears,
vision, good.
and taste.
Touch,
The taste,
smell,
skin is
touch.
touch. So with touch, what all we can know?
Like whether it's soft,
Excellent.
hard, or it
Soft,
is
hard, texture, something
is,
good. Temperature also,
temperature also.
okay, whether it is cold or hot. You getting me?
Yes, sir.
Pain also, pain.
Yes.
So from where you sensing pain? Vijay, from where you sensing pain?
The skin.
Skin, good, okay. If something pricks, no? Okay, so this is how, so we are sensing, okay. So this is called as, okay, so this is what is called as sensation. So we got sensory nerves, then motor nerves. So these nerves carry information from sense organs to the brain. This is sensation. Okay, as the information is moving, then, so how cold it is, how hot it is, or how soft it is, or how hard it is. So how you giving a meaning to that?
When it is causing discomfort, I think we can assume that it is hot.
Is it by just looking with regard to what is soft, what is hard?
It's by
Okay, if you touched anything before, based on your experiences. So when this particular thing it's going, and immediately our mind is so beautifully designed that it start checking with the already experience what you have. Then it is trying to sense whether it is soft with compared to the previous one, hard, and this is how it is giving a meaning to what particular information we're getting from sense organs. You agree with this?
yes, sir.
For example, if you have seen a new creature, So how is it resembling? Immediately it goes to mind, and mind will start analyzing. If you have seen this particular type of creatures before, so start checking with the data which is available to you. Is it having 4 legs? Is it having a tail? Is it having a larger head or smaller head? So how is it resembling? Is it resembling with a dog? Is it resembling with a cat? You agree with this?
Yes, sir.
And then it is trying to give a meaning. So this particular giving a meaning based on the previous knowledge, what you have is called as perception. So sensation, starting with the sense organs, taking information, sensory information, it reaches brain, from brain, okay? Then it's trying to analyze with the previous knowledge what you have, and it's trying to give a meaning to it or giving a definition to it, and it's called as perception. So this particular field of psychophysics starting about, it is dealing with stimulus, sensation, and perception. Okay, we're talking about stimulus and sensation. So how is this connected? For example, whether the person is able to detect a light, sound, noise, smell, taste, is it sensation? You agree with this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
If there is a color, is it a stimulus? You agree with this?
Yes, sir. It's a visual. Like,
Okay, color, sound, smell. So all these are stimulus. So when this stimulus is present, so is it detectable? If it is detectable, at what level it is detectable? So what is the minimum required to get detected? I repeat. So what is the minimum magnitude or level of stimulus which is required to get detected most of the times? That is at least 50% of the times when you get exposed is called as absolute limit. Please write down the concept called as absolute threshold, detection threshold, objective threshold, threats, limits, or sensation threshold, absolute sensitivity. So all these terms are trying to say that when you have a stimulus in the environment and where you can detect at least 50% of the times when you get exposed to it, it is called as absolute limit. In simple terms, what they're trying to say is that the minimum amount or the magnitude or the quantity of stimulus which is required to get detected is called as absolute limit. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
So if you have a sound, the minimum amount of sound which is required to get 50% of the time as a sound is called as absolute limit. Did you get this?
Yes, sir.
There is a color. If it is detectable as one particular color, so the minimum required quantity of that particular color gradient to be recognized as one particular color at least 50% of the time. When you're seeing it or when you get exposed to it, is called as absolute limit. Okay, then difference limit. So once it is getting identified, then at what level we can differentiate one stimulus from the other is called as difference limit. I repeat, if you are detecting at a minimum level, it is called as absolute limit. Once you're detecting, and what is that the minimum difference where you can make out a difference among two stimulus is called as difference limit. Okay, for example, if you're catching a two weights, okay, if they are same weight, can we differentiate anything?
No, sir.
If I ask you like which one is heavier or which one is lighter, will you be able to tell?
Yes, sir. If we measure,
it might be a noticeable measure, sir, because two objects, if we are holding with the two hands, and One of
For
our hand is
example,
more strong.
you're holding weights, and when I don't tell you these are some particular quantity, when you try to just weigh them, and when you try to tell them, you may be saying they are to be same. As and when I keep on adding some little bit of weight to it, and where you can differentiate. Okay, the minimum amount which is required to make a difference is called as difference limit or threshold. Difference threshold. It is also called as thresholds. The minimum amount required is the absolute threshold, and the minimum quantity where the two stimulus can be differentiated is called as difference threshold. Okay, so these are the two principles on which we try to look at the stimulus, where we can identify minimum required amount and where we can differentiate between two stimulus. So that is the minimum required quantity where it can make a difference is called as difference threshold. So these things are used in psychophysics to study stimulus and its effect on sensation, followed by what was the last one? Sensation and perception. Good. Then we will look at psychophysical methods. There are three methods of psychophysics. Did you remember yesterday we talked about assessment methods?
Yes, sir.
What are they? How many of them were there?
Observation.
Good.
Case study.
Good.
And then
interview.
Good.
And norm, reference.
References.
Standardized test.
Yes.
In the same way, we have psychophysical methods with which, making use of them, we can study the stimulus and its effect on sensation and perception. The first one, method of constant stimuli. Please write down, or if not, write down page number 50. If you don't have time, just you can write down page number 50. First one, method of constant stimuli. So this particular method says that when randomly, continuously, you are presented with different stimulus, and where you can detect 50% of the time. So always remember that at least half of the times you can detect that particular stimulus. So that method is called as method of constant stimuli. The method of constant stimuli is used where you present a random different magnitudes of stimulus.
Several times if we present the same stimulus.
Not same. If it is same, you will detect, no? You agree with me?
Yes, sir. It's repetitive because it becomes repetitive.
Yes. So randomly you try to present. Some are low, some are high, and etc. At where 50% of the times you can detect that particular stimulus. That is called as method of constant stimuli. Then method of limits. So method of limits, so uses respondents to particular stimulus, detect and perceive. So in this particular method of limits, you present a standard stimulus, then you try to either decrease or increase. I repeat, either you increase or decrease until this particular stimulus is getting detected 50% of the time. For example, when light, you present light, if that magnitude is very, very less, can we detect that?
Yes.
No.
Maybe no, because our eyes, they got some limitations where it can be detected. So in this particular method, you start increasing it. And when this particular subject says that, yes, I can detect. So this is how they try to find out, what is the minimum required amount that can be detected with a different stimulus, whether it can be light, sound, etc. Sounds also, for example, if they're presenting a different magnitude of sounds, if it is especially very, very less, you may not be able to detect. You agree with this?
Yes, sir.
because you got some limitation. Okay, only when it is in particular range, then only we can detect. So this is how they try to present you either in the decreasing order or increasing order, and where you can detect 50% of the times. It is called as method of limits. Then the third method is called as method of adjustment. Okay, now you should be able to tell me where we use this particular method. Okay, it is also called as method of average error, method of reproduction, or equation method. Method of average error. Did you remember these particular words? Okay, just look at it. An absolute threshold is found out by series of trials by direct adjustment. Okay, where you try to adjust the level. Either you move from high to low or low to high, and where you need to tell where you can assume that the presented stimulus is equal to that of the stimulus, or the magnitude what you are changing that is equal to that you have already seen. So you should be able to detect and say whether the sound or the thing what you have seen is equal to that of what you have presented before. So they will be adjusting it, and you need to tell where you find this particular the presented stimulus, and already you have seen stimulus are equal. Have you done this particular experiments anywhere? Arrow experiments, arrow-headed, feather-headed lines would be there.
Yes, sir.
They would be adjusting, and you need to tell where they or where these both lines are equal.
Muller-Lyer.
Excellent, excellent. So Muller-Lyer experiment, if you remember, it is the method of average error. You try to calculate the average. Okay, 10 or 5, like for example, 5 left, 5 right, towards standard towards right, standard towards left. Do you remember all that?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
You change that. Then you try to calculate all the averages, mean. And then you try to find out the point of subject to equivalence, average of right, average of left. Did you remember?
Yes, sir.
So how we calculate average? Total number of items by number of items or scores. Did you remember? Arithmetic mean or average formula. For example, how many students we got? Just 10 students. So I calculate all the 10 students scores, then divide by 10. It is going to give me the average. You agree with this?
Yes, sir.
So this is how method of adjustment, where you try to adjust the stimulus to say that both the stimulus, what you have seen and what you are about to adjust is equal. The best example is the Muller-Lyer illusion experiment, where we try to apply this particular method of adjustment or average error. Okay, so these are the three methods which we try to use them. Then we have psychological scaling methods. Okay, so scaling techniques are the techniques which are used to place the responses of the subject on a continuum or a scale. Repeat. So psychological scaling or scaling methods or techniques which are used to keep the responses of the respondents or subjects on a continuum or a scale and to make a value measurement. For example, a scale which can be having already predetermined values, and when you try to place these particular responses on the scale, so you are giving a meaning to that. For example, if you have scales, what is the scale which we use? For our education purpose, we use the scales, no? Is it in centimeters or meters?
It's in
Centimeters.
centimeters and meters. There's both on the same.
Okay. Yeah, centimeters. Then it will be having inches, I guess.
Inches, sir. 50
Inches.
Yes,
like-
no.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when you have a line and when you try to measure that or take this particular scale help, so is it going to give you a meaning? Is it going to tell you, is it 1 centimeter, 2 centimeter, 1 inch, 2 inch? You getting me?
Yes, sir.
So this is how, if there is a sound, when you try to give it or take help of a particular scale, maybe you are saying this many hertz of sound. You agreeing? So this is how the scales are used, and generally with regard to our psychology. So maybe the examples can be like strongly agree to strongly disagree. Okay, favorable to unfavorable things. Okay, so this is how you quantify feelings, responses of our subjects. Okay, and generally scaling methods, you might have heard about this particular measurement scales: nominal, ordinal, interval, ratio scales. So these are called as primary scaling techniques. Okay, when we talk in terms of scaling, so these are the primary one, and almost all we try to use them. Have you heard about this particular nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio scales? Okay, so Stanley Smith is a person who have come up with this particular scaling techniques, which are called as primary scaling techniques, and there are 4 types. Please write down: nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio scale. Okay, or if not, you can write down page number 60. So far we are talking about page number 60. As I said, scale is a technique where already you trying to place the responses on a continuum, and this particular continuum is based on an order, description. It can be distance between one response to the other response. Okay, and they are assigned within numerical value, or a predetermined rule would be there. So you have assigned them based on certain rules. For example, if this much of weight, it is called as 1 kg. You getting me? If this much is a quantity, it is called as 2 kg. So there is a predetermined value for them. And when you try to quantify and try to give a value, that is called as scaling. And Stevens or Stanley and Stevens have come up with a primary scaling techniques, and they said there can be 4 types of scaling techniques. And he said they are nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. First one is the nominal scale. Nominal scale is the starting or the basic scale, where this particular scaling is used to measure with regard to giving names or tags. Best example is the nominal roles. So what are these nominal roles or roll numbers?
Semester 4, semester 5, the numbers.
Okay. For example, if you have number of students, no? So how we are getting that I have 11 students or 10 students as of now? When I make a count, you agree with this?
Yes, sir.
So is 10 and 11 difference, is it going to give you any meaning there? Or is this particular scale is used to give a total? Okay, how many? What is the total? Okay, and especially as I said, nominal roles. So what this particular roll number mean in a classroom? For example, if you have 45 students, is it in any way roll number 1 is different from roll number 45?
Other than to identify, it's not different.
If my intention is only to quantify and tell the total.
Yes.
If intention is to tell the total, is it any way 1 is different from 45? Maybe not, because it is only used to tell the continuous or continuum of total number of students present in a class. Okay, like we have roll numbers. Or this can be also used to give or differentiate tags or labels. For example, male and female. If males are given 1, females are given 2, is it anyway 1 and 2 is a difference? Or can I say that 2 is more than 1 in this context?
No, sir. It's just a labeling. That's it.
Yes. You getting me? The other
Yep.
people?
Yes.
Other people, you getting me? So this type of scale is used only to make a difference or to give a label and a tag. If I say 1 represents male, 2 represents female, doesn't mean that 2 is greater than 1. You agree?
Yes,
Other
sir.
people,
Yes, yes.
you getting me? So only to give a difference. For example, as I said, if I have the total number, I say 45. So it doesn't mean that 1 is better than 45 or 45 is more. 44 times more than 1. Okay, the only intention is to give you the complete picture. So that type of scale is called as, okay, nominal scale, where it is used to give or identify the total number, or where it can be used to make a different labels. Male and female is the best one. Okay, it doesn't mean, okay, 1 is less than 2 or 2 is greater than 1. You getting me? Best example. Okay, all are equal. Then second one, ordinal. So ordinal scale is a scale where you try to order, rank order kind of. So this particular scaling technique is used to give a increasing or a rank order kind of. So for example, rank 1, rank 2, rank 3. So is there a difference?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, because
Can I say 3 is better than 2?
No, sir.
2 is better than 3?
Yes.
yes,
1 is better than 2?
Yes.
You getting me? So where if you have to rank, give an order based on order, either increasing or decreasing. So that scale is called as ordinal scale. Rank order, just remember, O for order. Then third, interval. So where if you have numbers, set of numbers, when you try to arrange them, okay, when you try to arrange them, and where the difference between the two variables or the interval between the two is equal. Okay. For example, 1 to 10, 10 to 20. The equal intervals, you agree with them?
Yes, sir.
If a set is having 1 to 10, the second set is having 11 to 20. So the equal interval, okay, the difference between, okay, the two sets is equal. Like for example, interval scales. We have this interval scales. If you remember, maybe the basics, like for example, tabulations and all that, okay?
Yes, sir.
Basic mathematics, when you have done this particular marks, okay? Up to 10th level, we have this.
Yes, sir.
You tabulate and you say 1 to 10. How many people are there? 10 to 20 and all that. Okay, this is how. The next ratio scale. Ratio scale is the highest one where we have the absolute 0 and also the ratios or the differences between the things would be same. For example, they have given, okay, 1.1 to 10 years, 11 to 20 years. Okay, so there is a meaningful difference between them, and also there is absolute 0. Ratio scale, you should remember that there is absolute 0. For example, in the interval scale, if I say 0, for example, they have given is a temperature. Just assume, can there be a state where 0 temperature?
Yes, sir. In few countries where the temperature is below.
At least there exists something, no? You getting me?
Yes, yes, yes.
So when we talk in terms of interval, no, it is arbitrary. It is a artificial zero they try to define, saying that this is what can be taken as a zero. But in general, for example, intelligent. Can a person be with zero intelligence? Just think about.
No, sir.
Can we exist without any intelligence?
That would be brain dead, no, sir.
You're getting it. Excellent. So where absolute zero don't be present, when it comes to ratio scale, okay, here absolute zero is also present, and this is the highest, okay, measurement scale where all basic mathematical operations can be performed. So what are the basic mathematical operations? What are the basic mathematical operations? Addition,
Subtraction, multiplication, division.
division. Okay, where everything can be applied, okay, is called as ratio scale. When it comes to nominal, it is the least one, where it is only used to tell the total number, or where you can try to differentiate, categorize, that is only purpose. So basic to the highest is the ratio where zero is also present and where you can do all mathematical operations. Okay, so this is with regard to primary scaling techniques. So all data, whatever you have. So based on the purpose, when you try to place them in a continuum and try to give a meaning to them, okay, if my intention is to give a order, so I should use which particular scale?
Ordinal scale, ma'am.
Ordinal. Okay. If my intention is only to tell the total quantity, what should I be using?
Nominal scale.
Nominal.
And if I want to differentiate how many males are there or how many male and female are present in my particular
Interval.
test,
Ratio scale.
okay, I can make use of a
Ratio scale.
okay. If I have to differentiate males and females, nominal
Nominal scale.
For example, if I have 10 students as of now, out of them, if I have to differentiate, okay, how many of them are males and how many of them are females? So maybe I am using a nominal scale. Okay, so this is how we try to use this primary scaling techniques to give some meaning to data. So we're talking about 10 people, so it doesn't try to create a huge effect, but when I have thousands of people. So thousands of people, can I do it manually?
Not possible, sir.
Not possible. But if I just simply assign them a numbers, and when I click, for example, when I filter, give a number one, wall with number one. So is it making me easy?
Yes, sir.
For example, Excel scales, if I use Excel scale, if I make a filter and say whoever is having the value 1. Can I get that? It will show all the quantity of males. If I have to check with their names, will it be possible? Based on the names, can I differentiate who is male and who is female? Maybe.
Based on numbers.
Maybe.
The assigned numbers.
Yeah, maybe a little bit difficult. And even sometimes, maybe if people are from some other region, if I'm not acquainted with names also, sometimes I get confused and I try to be in a confusion where to place this particular person, either in the male or female. You agree?
Yes,
sir.
But if I assign a value 1 and 2, 1 for male and 2 for female, and when I try to give that filter, so without any effort, it's going to give me how many ones are there and how many twos are there. You getting me?
Yes, sir.
So this is how these measurement scales are used. Then the other psychological scaling methods or the secondary one. So these are particularly used in our called social sciences. Okay, these are two types. Please write on page number 17. Okay, comparative scales and comparative scales. So what is comparison?
To compare changes.
Like it's a process of measuring people how they behave to in a class.
Good. Two or more.
Two or more.
Okay, two or more when I try to use comparison. Okay, so these scales are used, comparative scales. So I try to evaluate, okay, and I can say either which one is better, which one is higher or lower compared to the number of the events or the persons or the respondents or responses are present. Okay, for example, like do you prefer tea or coffee? So two objects I am trying to compare, tea or coffee. You getting me? So
Yeah.
when this type of comparisons are used, it's called as a comparative scale. So very simple. It is used for simple comparisons. Then what about this non-comparative? So this is used to, okay, scale a individual item. So it is not used for comparison. So when it is not used for comparison, so how many things I can have?
One.
Okay, simple. Okay, one. There are two I can make a compare. Two or more I can compare. I'm saying it is a non-comparative. Then simply logical it means only one item or one person or one value I have, and I'm trying to, okay, scale that particular one single item. Okay, like for example, measurement of attitudes. Okay, so attitude of a person. Can attitude be one?
No.
The person.
Okay, so it has some continuum. You agree with that?
Yeah.
For example, maybe favorable to most favorable and all that. Okay, we will talk a little bit that. Because the next scale, which is called as Thurston equal appearing interval scale. So is this a scale? It's a measurement scale towards various aspects of a people or an individual. And these scales are especially used in psychology and sociology. So these are made up of statements with regard to one particular issue. Okay, and we try to give a numerical value to that particular response. For example, if he says favorable, so you will get 1 mark. If he says unfavorable, you will be awarded 0 marks. So when I compute how many marks he is getting, so based on that marks, I can arrive at a conclusion. So such type of scales are called as Thurston equal appearing interval scale. So equally appearing intervals. As we talked about interval, so the difference would be same. So either it should be favorable or unfavorable. Or for example, it can be true or false. If true, you may be getting 1. If false, you may be getting 0 marks. So it is as simple as that. For example, I am inspired to meet my goals at work. They have given an example in page number 18. I would like to attend this particular online class. Yes or no? I'm only trying to look at two things. Yes or?
Agree. Yes.
Okay, no. So there is no in between. Just remember. So completely, there are two dimensions or two, okay, things which are saying either I would like to attend or I don't like to attend. Just an equal appearing scale. Then we have the next one, Likert summative scale, where within this same one particular dimension also, I can still get in depth, okay, knowledge to what extent is favorable or what extent is not favorable. That is the extension of this particular Thurston scale to the Likert scale. Before we had only favorable or unfavorable. Even if it's favorable also, with using Likert scale, I can know to what extent is favorable. Strongly agree, doubtful, or maybe in between, can't say, disagree as well as strongly
Disagree.
disagree. With the above scale, Thurston scale, I can say, or I can get to know only agree or what's the other one?
Disagree.
If you agree, okay. If not, you would be disagree. That's it. But with the Likert summative scale, you can still get, if he's liking also, if he's agreeing also, what is the magnitude of agreeing? Is simply agreeing, strongly agreeing, very strongly agreeing, very, very strongly agreeing. You getting me?
Yes, sir.
Previous one, you like or don't like. So this scale it is saying like, strongly liking, very, very strongly liking. So if you are favorable also, it is going to tell you the magnitude, how much you are favorable or not favorable. So that is called as Likert summative scale.
Basically, it's a customer care scale, sir.
Yeah, it is generally used for survey purpose actually. So Likert summative scale, it should be either 5 points, 7 points, like that. So what we talked is a 5 points: strongly agree, agree, doubt, disagree, and strongly disagree. If it is 5, so how can it be made 7? Very strongly agree, very strongly disagree. So based on the intention, based on the purpose, to what extent you would like to know, just simply if you would like to know yes or no, favorable or unfavorable, okay, liking or not liking, then you can go with this particular Thurston equal agreeing intervention. If you want to still know, even within agreeing or disagreeing, so what is the magnitude of agreeing, how much agrees, how much disagrees, then you can go with Likert summative scale. Okay. Then last we have Guttman cumulative scale. So this is also a simple. Rao Hyderabad to me. Please end class. Okay, okay, ending. It's only 28, no? Okay. So Guttman cumulative scale. So this is also a unidimensional where you try to look at the ordinal or the order giving based on the order. One particular dimension you try to look at, okay, and where you try to measure the total cumulative. And this is also similar to the above one, as we talked about, okay, giving either yes or no kind of thing, where you have numerical values for 0, for example, no, and yes for 1. And you should always remember that it's a cumulative. Each item, they don't give you the total score, but when you take the total cumulative score, so it is going to give you a picture about, okay, how favorable you are or how not favorable you are with regard to one particular issue. So you frame questions with regard to one particular issue, and the overall score is going to give you, so how you agree or how much you agree and how much you disagree. It is called as Guttman cumulative scale. Okay, so you should always remember that if I said no 0, it doesn't mean all the statements will have 0 for no. Actually, they are called as positive statements and negative statements. Okay, so if it is a positive statement, then only yes will have 1. Okay, I would like to attend this class. A positive statement, so 1 will be given. A negative statement can be like, okay, I don't want to miss this particular class. Okay, or anything which says a negative context. And for that, if you agree, no, it is a negative context. If you agree, you will get a 0 marks. You getting me?
Yes, sir.
The statements would be based on either positive or negative with regard to one particular issue. And the overall score is going to give you the degree of favorable or being not favorable. So that is called as Guttman cumulative scale. Okay. So with this, we have completed this particular unit 2 also. So you be clear with what you mean by psychophysics. Then we talked about, okay, absolute and differential thresholds. Then we talked about, okay, different methods. Then we talked about, okay, scaling, primary scaling techniques. Then we talked about the secondary, that is comparison, comparative and non-comparative. Okay. So this is with regard to physics unit 2. And if you have anything, no, we will try to discuss in the next class. Okay. We have already given a intimation from them. Okay. We need to close that. Okay.
Okay,
Someone was asking, I don't know if anything.
Me, sir, for sure.
Yeah, anything
Like
if, go ahead.
Thurston equal appearance interval scale and
Gutman.
Gutman cumulative scale. Both are giving only two statements. Agree, disagree, yes or no.
Yeah. For example, the Likert no, you can simply get to know about each statement. Each statement will say either yes or no. From there only you can get to know the statement, based on the statement whether the person is favorable or not. But when it comes to Gutman cumulative or the total of all the items will only give you the last conclusion whether you agree or disagree with that particular issue. That is the only difference. Here also values would be there, but we need to calculate the total value. Okay, total ones, how many you are getting, that based on the total, you can decide whether you are agreeing, not agreeing, etc. With regard to the Likert no, the simple statement can also give. Okay, a simple statement like, are you satisfied with this particular class? Yes or no? It is going to give me a overall picture of me. But when it comes to Gutman, no, I will frame different questions from different points of view. When I get the total, no, then only I will come to know whether you are satisfied with this particular class or not. As simple as that. Okay, can we end this class?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sure, I'll see you all in the next class.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes. Okay, go ahead.